Fairgrounds USA, countyfairgrounds.net. Welcome to today's podcast.
Hello, this is Mike.
Hi, Mike. This is Karen. You're a fairgrounds attraction and a magician?
Yes, and a comedian.
Okay. So, have you ever had any other career?
This is what I've done since '96. I worked at a regular job in retail once, but I left there because of something my boss said. He said, "You're fired."
Oh. So have you always been a kind of a funny guy? I mean, always?
Yes, but it's not funny the reason why I'm funny. I grew up, my dad was really abusive my whole life growing up, and the only way that, or I should say the way that I dealt with all the abuse was with humor. Of course, not in front of him, but when I was away from him, I would make jokes about it, and, that's how I dealt with it. And then as I got older and started performing, it was just kind of a natural flow that people were laughing at the things I said and did and how we interacted. And it just worked. It stuck.
So do you remember some of your first shows?
Yes, they were terrible. The first few shows were awful. I learned how to do magic when I was 8 years old. 8 or 9 is when I started, back when I lived in Chicago. And when I was a teenager, I walked into a place called Ash's Magic Shop, also in Chicago, told him what I wanted to do for a living. Right, I was a teenager. So he gave me a book called The Royal Road to Card Magic. He said, learn how to do the stuff in here and you could do everything you're talking about. So I learned how to do all the stuff in there. And then, in 96, I decided I was going to start as a street performer. So I walked out onto the street in front of Water Tower Place on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, and nobody would stop to watch a show. I'm like, I don't understand it. Nobody would stop. No one was interested, nothing like that. But I quickly got good at it. I was building them around. They were watching 20 and 30-minute shows. And then by 98, I was performing for Radisson Resorts.
That's quite an improvement.
Yeah, it was, the magic and the comedy was there. It was just getting the skills of working in front of an audience. And I was determined. I was 16 hours a day, just working my butt off.
Okay, so you started doing county fairs when, and do you remember your first county fair?
Yes, the first fair. So I did Renaissance festivals forever, probably since 2002. And I wanted to move out of the Renaissance Festival market and into the state and county fair market. And there's a multitude of reasons why. So the first thing I did is I joined the IAFE, and that was during their last year of having a convention in Las Vegas. So what was that, about 3 years ago, something like that? I think it was, 2017. Well, during that time, I met this great lady. Her name is Kate Davis. Her husband is Marty Davis, and he's got the Marty Davis Show, and he's been in the fair industry forever. So Kate said, hey, you should also join the Rocky Mountain Association of Fairs because I think you'll really like it. You'll fit in, and there's no one doing what you're doing, so come on over. So I joined that one. Well, then that year, because things were going really great up till then. And then at the end of October 30th of that year, right before the conventions, my mother-in-law passed away. And we live together. We all live in a large property in Missouri. So there was that. And then 6 days later, my father-in-law passed away. So because of all this chaos, kind of everything was falling apart now. So I missed the Rocky Mountain Association of convention that year. And I still made it out to the IAFE, but I was really secluded and not really wanting to talk because I was sad. My family just passed away within a few days. While I was out there, I met a gentleman by the name of Bob Fricke, and he was, or still is, the fair manager for the Allen County Fair in Lima, Ohio. So we were at a round table or an ed session, and we were chatting, and he says, I really like what you're talking about and what you say you'll do. So he looked into me a little bit, checked up on some stuff. He come back. He's like, I want to bring you out to my fair. So I went out there. I did his fair. I over deliver on everything. Like whatever I say I'll do, I always do more, So he was really happy, and he put me on a 2-year rotation. So I do his fair 2 years, then I'm off 2 years, and I'm back 2 years. And that was the first one that I did, and it was an incredible experience. I loved it so much that I stopped booking all Renaissance festivals, and I said, I'm putting my heart and soul into the state and county fair thing, and went at it full force. And I've made so many friends and made so many connections that I just could never be thankful enough.
Hey, Mike, you're a grounds act. How did you get to be a grounds act and not a stage act?
Okay, so they do put me on a stage, okay, but I let them know that they could put me on the grounds anywhere. And the reason for that is some of the fairs are not equipped, like they want to bring me in, but they don't have a stage to put me on. So then they're concerned, we want this guy, but we don't have a stage, so forth. So they could put me literally anywhere on the fairgrounds, and I could do as many shows as they want. Usually it's 3 or 4 a day. But because I've got so much experience as a street performer, no matter where you put me, within 2 minutes, I could have hundreds of people in a complete circle surrounding me. I'm totally self-contained, and the show is literally portable. You could put it anywhere, and it works every single time. So that's one of the things I'm thankful for, having started as a street performer and really I still do street performing. In fact, right now I'm in a top secret location where I'm working on next year's show, performing on the street. And I go out every night for about 4 hours, and I build massive crowds. They shut down the streets out here and everything to accommodate these shows that I've been doing. So it's pretty cool.
Are you a musician too?
I do play music. I didn't want to push that too much, but it is something that we've incorporated. So when I was younger, I played guitar in a band and sang, and then we got signed to a label out of Chicago. And then shortly after that happened, the other members of the band kind of went off on some crazy drug tangent, so that all fell apart. So I just pursued only the magic after that. But I always played guitar and always sang. And my youngest daughter, Scarlett, she's been playing violin since she was 3 years old. She's been studying classically. And now she's 14, and she's the only one of my kids that wants to go into show business. So she's like, Dad, I want to be in a band. I said, that's great, but you can't be around boys. So she's like, well, will you do it with me? Yeah. So she asked, she's like, Dad, will you do it with me? You know how to do this stuff. You're doing it all the time. Can you? So I said, okay. And her and I started playing music together acoustically. So she plays fiddle, and I play guitar and sing. And we play mostly country music and some classic rock from probably the 60s to about the late 80s. And this year is the first year her and I perform. I mean, we've performed together at theaters and bars and stuff like that. But this year we performed together. We just got done at the Mesa County Fair. So I did my magic and comedy act. I did strolling magic on the grounds. And then her and I did our music. And that, Donna Red, that's the fair manager out there at Mesa County in Colorado. She liked it so much. She said, not only is she bringing me back next year, but she's also talking with other fairs in her area, so I could spend several weeks out there in Colorado and just do one after another that are kind of next to each other. So I thought, man, it's so cool.
Yeah, most of our Colorado fairs take place in July and August because, we're a mountainous area. So, but yes, it's a gorgeous state, I have to tell you.
Mesa County, that was really neat, is because it's deserty over like 100, and it was really dry every day. So it was different than being somewhere like Breckenridge, where it gets nice and cool at night and stays fairly cool during the day. But yeah, I love the Rockies, so that's awesome to me.
So how old's your daughter now?
Scarlett, she is 14. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck with the boy thing, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. She gets text messages and stuff on Instagram about boys telling her that they like her all the time. So far I've been lucky because she's not interested in boys. She's interested in music, but I know it's not going to last forever, right?
Yeah, no. All right. So how many county fairs do you think you've done?
I've done Illinois State Fair, DuPage County Fair in Illinois. Those were a while back before I started really pursuing them. And then since I've started doing them, I've had Allen County in Lima, Ohio, and Mesa County out here in Grand Junction, Colorado. And for the last 3 years, Brian Carlson, who is an agent, he met me out at the IAFE convention. He's been wanting to work with me to get me booked all over the place because he saw me showcase, he loved it, all that stuff. But it's been next to impossible because I had to fulfill a bunch of contracts. Many of my contracts for Renaissance festivals and things of this nature are about 2 years out. So I'm just coming to the end of those because I purposely did not renew any of them. So I just got done talking with Brian probably a month and a half ago, and he set everything up, and he's got me showcasing and bringing me out to the Missouri convention to get that kicked off. So I'm excited to be working with him. He's a really nice guy.
So what has been, do you think, your most favorite experience out of all the shows?
Oh man, this is easy. Of all the shows, it's making people laugh. All right, that's like, to me, that's like drugs. All right, I don't do drugs. I don't know what they're like, but I know what people say they're like. And there's nothing in the world that makes me feel better. It's like I'm on top of the world when jokes and comedy and situations that, you know, I sit around and think for hours, how could I make this happen? Then I go out and do it, and people literally, you know, they love it, and they come up after the show, and they're like, you should be on AGT, you're so funny, and things like this. So that's amazing. But I'll tell you what I like the absolute best, and this is the reason why I really, really wanted to pursue and started pursuing the state and county fairs, is the friendships. They're like nothing else. It's literally like family. When I got out to the Grand Junction Mesa County Fair, I had only spoke with Donna Red on the phone and her marketing director, Mackenzie Dodge, on the phone. When I got out there, as soon as they seen me, they jumped off their golf carts. They ran over. They gave me a hug like I was their long-lost son. Man, it was so cool. So the relationships are really the coolest. Kate Davis, oh, my goodness, she is probably the most generous and kind person I've ever met in my life. Absolutely. So these are like real friends, you know, and that's I've never been able to find that in any of the other markets. And
yeah,
to me,
yeah. I agree with that.
It's so cool. Like AGT, America's Got Talent, has wanted me on their show twice. And I refuse every time. The reason I refuse is because everybody that goes on those shows, what I think is they're seeking this fame and fortune, right? They're not happy with where they are. But I got the feeling that they're seeking the wrong thing, because to me, a rich life, I'm really happy right now getting into this fair market, because to me, a rich life is having a relationship with the Lord, having good friends, and having my family around. There's nothing that any television show could give me that's going to top that. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the reason that I do what I do is because county fairgrounds are places that make people happy, and yes, you're right, they're like a family. So
yeah.
Okay, so tell me, where would you like to perform that you have not yet had a chance to?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. I guess I'm just, any fair that I haven't been at, I'd like to be, and I love the Rockies so much. That's why I'm sticking with the Rocky Mountain Association of Fairs. Plus, Nancy Pitts, that runs the Fair Association, she's such a great person too. So I guess anywhere in the Rockies will keep me so happy. And, you know, most importantly, just making new friends there so that when I leave afterwards, it's not like the relationship ends. I could still call these people. I could still talk with them. But where would I like to perform? Anywhere in the Rockies makes me happy.
Okay. And Mike, you're pretty much a self-taught magician, right? Completely?
Yes, totally.
That's interesting. Okay,
Yep.
so is there anything else that you want to add?
Let's see. What would I like to add? I just want to say thank you to the entire community, to everybody that's made the state and county fairs what they are today, to everybody, you know, all the farmers that put forth the work. Because a lot of times what happens, and I think this is a strange phenomenon, a lot of times people go to the fair, but they only go to the fair because of the carnival, you know, or to get the food or the funnel cake or the cotton candy, and they don't realize how important the fair is to the agriculture community and all the things that these young kids in the 4-H, man, I meet so many cool kids in 4-H, and I talk to them all the time about showing their animals and selling them and all this stuff. I had this poor kid at the last one I was at. He worked so hard with his goats, and he came and he found me by my motorhome. I was sitting outside before a show, and he said, you know, Mike, what time's your next show? I got to come over because I got to get my mind off selling, you know, my goat. So I felt bad. He looked like he was ready to cry. So he came over the show, you know, and he was laughing and having fun and having a good time. And afterwards, he came up to me and he shook. Now, this kid, he was like 9 years old. And he come up to me after the show and he shook my hand. He's like, Mike, thanks so much, man. You made me laugh. I really needed that. I was like, oh, my gosh, that's the coolest thing ever, you know. So, yeah, that kind of stuff. I love just knowing that something silly that I do that came out of a bad childhood turned into something that makes so many people happy. That's just awesome.
And that's part of what makes life good, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. And so where's your next performance?
Let's see. I'm leaving where I'm at right now on August 11th, and I'm heading back to Lima, Ohio, to do the Allen County Fair out there. I'll be on the AAA Grandstand stage doing 3 shows a day, and then I've got 2 extra ones that I do for the seniors that they bus in. So we'll be doing that. I think that starts on I want to say the 17th or the 19th, one of those 2 days of August.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mike. I hope you have a good next show, and I hope a lot of people listen to this and you get a lot of calls.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye-bye.